All right. Welcome to the program. The program is going to be the most intricate, the most complex, and hopefully the most fun C2C league in existence. Now, I would love to take credit for all of this, but it was really our guy Boz that set up the general concept for this type of league, this type of C2C. Matt Bruning had a lot of input in it, and then I got super nerdy and added a bunch of stuff in as well. So this is not all just from me. This is not just my brainchild. This was a team effort. But I got super nerdy and put in a bunch of details as to how we would recruit players that would make it the most fun. And so in order to help best explain all of this, as opposed to just reading through a list of rules, I think it would be much easier to have a video like this so that way I can explain exactly how this league will work and why it will be as much fun as I believe it will be. So at this point, I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And here we go. So as you can see, this is just an example that we're going to use from the 2020 class. These guys would actually be in the initial startup draft. So all of this would start with the 2021 class. But as you can see, there's numbers corresponding with all of these players. So let's take Bryce Young, for example. These were all randomly generated numbers. So he has 2 value for prestige, 4 for offensive scheme, 2 for early playing time, and 2 as a – oh, I put priority recruit. That needs to be changed. Okay, let's fix this. Okay, so as you guys can see here, we have a bunch of players' names. Now, these are all guys from the 2021 or the 2020 class. We won't actually start recruiting until the 2021 class. So all of these guys will be in your startup. Now, there will be preseason recruiting, so we will start recruiting right away for the 21 class. But this just gives us a good example of what this could potentially look like. So let's look at Julian Fleming, for example. Julian Fleming has a 2 for prestige, 4 for offensive scheme, 4 for early playing time, and 2 for education. Now, basically what this means is if it is a 4, it is a high priority for them. 3 is a priority, but not quite as high. And 2 and 1 basically mean it's not a priority. You're not going to receive any sort of bonus points for this. So it's really important to understand these 4 categories because this is going to be vital in understanding how to recruit some of these players. So Julian Fleming, 2 for prestige, 4 for offensive scheme, 4 for early playing time, and 2 for education. So let's go see what all of these mean. So let's start off with each team is going to have a location school. So you can choose what school you want. I'm an Ohio State fan, so to make it easy, I'm just going to say Ohio State is the university that I'm going to be representing. So as with that being my home school, Ohio State my team will automatically get a 20-point bonus on recruiting any player from that state. So any player that is a recruit from the state of Ohio, if I recruit them, I get a 20% bonus on all of the ones that I do. So it's 1 point for every 5 points used. Now, the reason I use this, and this will be a similar scale for all of these, I could say 20%. I don't want to do 20% off of 1 point. I don't want to do 20% off of 2 points because then we're dealing with fractions, things like that. So I will get 1 bonus point if I use 5 recruiting points. I will get 2 points if I use 10 recruiting points on up. If I were to use 50 recruiting points, so it doesn't matter necessarily the number of recruiting points. The percentage will follow with it. Now, if I were to go with 7 recruiting points used, it rounds down to the nearest 5, so I'll still only get 1 bonus point. So 20% bonus for in-state. Also, each team will have an additional pipeline state that you will get a 10% bonus when you're using recruiting points for these players. Now, you might say, okay, Garrett, what are recruiting points? How do you use recruiting points? So let me go over to this spreadsheet right here. So each team is allotted an original amount of points for each week. Now, there are ways to earn bonuses, and I'll get into that. But preseason points, each team is given 500 preseason points. So as you can see in here, this is just a pretend mock-up that I did of distributing these points among certain players that I'm trying to recruit. All right. I have it in the writing later, but when there's 500 points allowed, there's 2 points in the year that there's 500 points that you get during that week or that part of the season. You can use up to 50 on an individual player. Throughout the weeks where there's only 50 points that you can only use up to 20 points on a player. You can choose to distribute it how you want to, and I have it rounded very nice and evenly. You don't necessarily have to round it that nicely. So I'll get back to this. So you will get, you will get 20% bonus if it's a player in your state, and you get a 10% bonus if it's a player that's in your pipeline state. Now, each team gets one pipeline state addition to start, and everyone can choose what their pipeline state is. So just because I'm Ohio State doesn't mean I can't choose Texas, California, Florida, whatever. But other teams could also choose those states, or that could be where their home state is. So you have to try to weigh what's more important to you, potentially having to share a pipeline state, or maybe having a pipeline state all to yourself where you'll get those bonuses. So you have to determine that for yourself. Prestige is something else that is a factor for these players. Now, each team on our draft day, we will all start with a 0 prestige. All right. So none of us will have any yet. However, at the end of the season, the team that ranks first in the college football, this is only for college football, not the NFL side. The team that finishes first will get 100 points, 2 will 95, all the way on down to the last place team will only get a 45 prestige. So that next season, the top 4 teams will have the top team will have 100, 95, 90, 85. So that following season, the top team, if you use prestige as your pitch, this doesn't automatically happen. So you have to use prestige as your pitch. If you are one of those top teams, and if the prospect values it as a 3 or a 4, you will get a 20% bonus when you pitch prestige. All right. So that, for example, let's say that I was going after Julian Fleming again. So we'll go back to the spreadsheet here. So let's say it's week 1 and I'm using 20 points for Julian Fleming. All right. Prestige is only a 2 for him. So that probably wouldn't be that helpful. All right. So I'm not going to get any bonus if I pitch Julian Fleming prestige. That won't give me any bonus points. However, if I pitch offensive scheme and we have the same type of offensive scheme, I'll get to that. A 4 is much more significant. I'll get some bonuses for that or early playing time. But, Julian Fleming wouldn't get any. However, let's say I'm recruiting Robinson, and I'm using 20 points to get Robinson. And prestige, as you can see here, is really, really important to Robinson. So I would get, if I am the team that won the championship, if I am the first place team, I have 100 prestige, then I will, and I use that as my pitch to recruit Robinson, then I will get a 20% bonus. If I was a team that came in second, I would get a 10% bonus. And right here it says that 20% bonus 10, third place 5, fourth place 5. Now, these prestige rankings will change each year because not the same team. It's not going to finish in the exact same order every year. So it will average out up to the first 3 years. So these prestige rankings will change, and that will be your value that you will get each season for that player. But the example I use, so let's say we're in 2026 now, it will only use the 3 most recent years to factor prestige. Now, I know in real life it goes way, way deeper than that, but that way we're not burying any team. We're only going to use the past 3 years as the average. So let's say, you won it all in 2023, but then you kind of tanked and you got 11th twice in a row for the following year. or the following 2 years, you would average 50, 50, 100. So 200 divided by 3. So if off the top of my head, was that 66%? So you would have a prestige score of 66. And you would then rank that compared to everybody else. All right, I know this is a ton of information. I'm going to keep going. Offensive scheme is another thing that you can factor. So each team will choose one of the following schemes for themselves. Air raid, which will give you a wide receiver bonus of 10% for a 3, 20% for a 4, if that's their value on it. Spread, same thing, 10 and 4. Smash mouth, you get the running back bonus. Balanced, you get the tight end bonus. Don't be too picky with these. I know some of these systems also favor other players. It's just an easy way to distribute these bonuses. So let's say I was Ohio State and I decided to choose the wide receiver, or I decided to choose air raid as my system. Now, year in, year out, you can change your systems if you wish to. But let's say I am deciding to go with the air raid offense. All right, so I will get a wide receiver bonus, and that'll be 4 for every time, I will get 1 bonus point for every 5 I use, or 20% if that player is a 4. So if we went back to Julian Fleming, he is a 4 for offensive scheme. So that means I would get a 20% bonus on anything I do anytime I pitch offensive scheme to Julian Fleming. So we'll go to the recruiting points used, and everyone will get a sheet that looks like this. So I use 20 points on Julian Fleming, and we'll say that I pitched offensive scheme. That means I would get an additional 4 points that week for Julian Fleming just from that alone, let alone if he was in one of my pipeline states or something like that. So that's how those bonuses work. Early playing time, same type of thing for early playing time. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the ADP average ranking, and I'll figure out what we want to use as a consensus ranking, because I know it's tough. Some rankings are deeper than others, but it'll be kind of a pass-fail concept. So let's say you're recruiting a Tank Bigsby, but you already have Travis Etienne and Journey Brown on your roster. Both of their ADPs are higher than Tank Bigsby at this point. So you would not be able to consider him a sorry, I'm blanking on this. He would not have a chance for early playing time because you have 2 players that are ranked highly for your running back positions. So all the running back slots are full, so you wouldn't get anything. Let's say, however, you have no-name guys at running back, and Tank Bigsby's ADP actually is higher than those guys. Then what you would do is you would get a 20% bonus if they are a 4, a 10% bonus if they are a 3. Now, as I'm recording this, I'm now remembering that we are going to be doing this for the 2021 class, and it will not be for the 2020 class. And so we will not know where their ADP is. So what we will do instead, I'm thinking of this on the fly. If I change this, I will let you know. But we will probably have some sort of cutoff. So if you have 2 running backs that are starting for you that are ranked within the top 15 ADP, then you don't have any starting running back slots available for a recruit coming in. So that's how we'll kind of work that. Once again, 20% bonus for 4, 10% for a 3 if you pitch that and you have that available for yourself. Education, same type of concept. You will get a 10% bonus if you pitch education. If that is a 3 value to them, if it is a 4 value, then you get a 20%. That's only if they are a diamond school. If they're a gold school, you get a 5% and a 10%. Now, how this is determined, we'll go to this link real quick, and actually have it up here already. These schools are considered diamond schools. So we are going to use this website each year to determine what are considered diamond schools, what are considered gold schools, those types of things. So these universities, so say you want to be Michigan, I would never choose that. They're considered a diamond school. So that would be you could get up, if it was a 4 prospect and you are a diamond school, you are the University of Michigan, you would have the opportunity to get a 20% bonus anytime you pitch that to a player. Let's see what else is there. Northwestern, if you chose to be Northwestern, North Carolina, Minnesota, Purdue, Ohio State. You see all the schools here. So these are all diamond schools. Then you get down to the gold schools. These schools, Georgia, Iowa, you would only get a 10 and 5% bonus if you're pitching education. If you're below that, if you're silver, bronze, whatever, all of this, if you're any of those, you will not get any sort of bonus when pitching education. All right, so that was a lot of information that I threw at you real quick. There's a few other things I want to go over. Let's get player commitments for a second. We're going to go down to game day visits. So each team will get 2 weeks during the season where they can choose to bring players on campus for a game day visit. On those weeks, they can bring up to 5 players onto their campus. If your college team wins that week, which means you will have a matchup each week. If you beat your opponent that week, now I'm not saying the real Ohio State University, your team, if they beat whoever you are playing that week, each prospect will receive a 40-point recruiting bonus. However, if your team loses, they'll still get a bonus for being on campus, but only 15. But there will be none of the, oh, yeah, you pitched location while they're there, or not location, you pitched scheme while they're there, or anything like that. None of that will factor in. So it's just a flat either 40 or a flat 15, depending on if you win or lose your game day visit. There are also award bonuses. So if any player on your team wins one of the 4 major awards, they will receive a 10% bonus every time you talk to a player at that position. All right, so if you do the Walker Award and you're going after Tank Bigsby, you would get 10% bonus, or you would get 1 point for every 10 that you use. Recruiting point bonus for recruiting Tank Bigsby. However, if your player wins the Heisman, where do I have that? I have that down there. Yeah. If your player wins the Heisman Trophy, you receive a 10% bonus on all players that you're recruiting. All right. However, if you win the Heisman and your guy also wins one of the other awards, which is very likely for the O'Brien and the Heisman, it's usually a quarterback, it will cancel out. So you can't get 20 and 30-point bonuses. It will only be a flat 10% bonus, but you will get it at all the positions, not just quarterback or not just running back. There are also playoff bonuses. So if your team is one of the final 4 teams in the playoffs, you get 20 additional bonus points added to the offseason recruiting period. The championship team receives 50 total. The runner-up gets 40 total. So there's all these bonuses, all these different things. So let's get to player commitment, because this is also a lot to digest, a lot to understand. Once a player gets 200 total points, whether it is just from you or whether it is from a bunch of teams combining together, recruiting this player, once it gets to a player gets to 200 total points, they go into commitment mode. Each week there is a 1 in 3 chance, and we'll do a randomizer for that as well. 1 in 3 chance of a player choosing their school, committing to their school that week. That player will be assigned a number each week by a random number generator. If it's a 1 or 2, the player's commitment stays open. They don't decide yet, and you get another week for people to add in their points, try to recruit this player harder, whatever. But if it's a 3, they are choosing a school that week. A team that has given the player at least 50 recruiting points and is in the top 3 of total points given to that player will be considered in the running. So let's go back to Julian Fleming, because we've used him quite a few times. Let's say it's week 3. My team, Ohio State, has given him 120 points. Auburn has given him 70 points, and Alabama has given him 60 points. So let's say that's the scenario. If that's the case, there will be a 70% chance that Ohio State receives his commitment, a 20% chance that Auburn receives his commitment, and a 10% chance that Alabama receives his commitment. Or if for some weird reason I'm the only one recruiting Fleming, or I'm the only one that it's at least crossed that 50-point threshold, then if he's in commitment mode and that number 3 comes up, then he will automatically go to my team. All right. But there will never be any more than 3 teams in the final running. So obviously you want to be the best team, the team with the most points, because your chance of landing that player is very high. But just like in real life, just because a school recruits a player really hard does not necessarily mean they will get that player. So it adds an element of luck, just like it does in the real life recruiting. All right. So here's an example of how this will work. Let's say it's week 1 of the 2021 season. Texas A&M is a smash mouth team that ranks 2nd in prestige. Their pipeline state is Arizona, and they had Joe Burrow last year, so they won the Heisman. So the bonuses that Robinson would receive when they recruited him and used 20 points on him that week, first week, they would receive 4 points for scheme pitched. Now, that's assuming I haven't gone back to look at the spreadsheet. So that's assuming he is a 4 for prestige, which means you get a 20% bonus. So that, 20% would be an extra 4 points. 2 points for being a pipeline player, because he's from Arizona, and Arizona is the pipeline state. And then you get +2 for the Heisman bonus because your team won the Heisman last year. Now, notice you're not getting anything for prestige, even though you didn't pitch that. You would have to pitch prestige in order to get it, and you can only pitch one thing to a player at a time. Once again, same thing with education. I don't know where A&M ranks in education. They're not getting any bonus for that this time because that wasn't pitched. Same thing with playing time. So only what's pitched can be added, all right? So I threw a lot out there. I know this is an incredibly long video, but hopefully this gives you a much better concept. And here, I'll stop sharing my screen so you can actually see me. Once again, hopefully this gives you a much better concept as to how this is going to work. Now, the nice part about all of this is you don't have to keep track of all of these details. It would be helpful for you to understand it all, so that way when you're pitching a certain thing, you're getting bonuses and all of that. But your commissioner, and there will be 2 leagues running simultaneous, and from my understanding, I believe Boz is going to be the commission of one, and I will be the commission of the other. But I will not be commissioning my own league. I will be commissioning the opposite league. So that way we know that everything's kept above board. There's no cheating for your own specific team. So I'll be commissioning the opposite league. You'll report your recruiting points that you want to use and what type of scheme or what type of pitch you want to do that week. And I will factor all that, and I will send out then a report card to you as to where you're at with all of your players each and every week. So you don't have to know all of these details, but if you understand them all, you can utilize them to the best of your ability to maximize your points, get all of the bonuses you can, and hopefully be the high bidder on or the one that uses the most points on all of these players, so you have the highest likelihood of landing all of these players. I appreciate all your time watching this video, and good luck with the program.